Welcome back, coin enthusiasts. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of U.S. coinage as we explore the history and value of some truly remarkable pieces. The 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar, the 1981 Susan B. Anthony coin, and the unique 1981 P quarter dollar. Each of these coins carries its own story, from the bold introduction of America's first circulating coin featuring a real woman, to the continued journey of the small-sized dollar, and the collectible details hidden in a simple quarter. Get ready, because these coins are more than just change, they're history in your hands. Top 3 first up. The Susan B. Anthony dollar was one of the most ambitious yet controversial projects in U.S. coinage history. Introduced in 1979, it was designed to honor Susan B. Anthony, a pioneering leader in the women's suffrage movement. By 1980, the coin entered its second year of production, but it already faced circulation challenges. The 1980 issue carried on the design but was struck in 3 different mints: Philadelphia, no mint mark; Denver, D; and San Francisco, S. The obverse of the coin featured a portrait of Susan B. Anthony, designed by Frank Gasparo. She was the first actual woman, not symbolic like Lady Liberty, to appear on a circulating U.S. coin. This bold move was part of the U.S. Mint's effort to recognize women's contributions to American history. The reverse design showcased the Apollo 11 moon landing insignia, originally used on the Eisenhower dollar. It depicted an eagle landing on the moon with an olive branch in its claws, symbolizing peace. This tied the coin to America's achievements in both civil rights and space exploration. In 1980, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 27 million Susan B. Anthony dollars. These coins bear no mint mark and were widely released for general circulation. However, their small size and resemblance to a quarter confused the public, limiting their acceptance in everyday transactions. The Denver Mint produced about 41 million coins in 1980. These coins carry the D mint mark. Denver's production was higher than Philadelphia's, showing the Mint's expectation of more demand, but in reality, circulation remained weak due to the public's dislike for the coin. The San Francisco Mint in 1980 primarily struck proof versions of the Susan B. Anthony dollar. Proof coins were carefully crafted for collectors, using highly polished dies and planchets. These 1980 S-proofs remain popular among numismatists today because of their superior quality and mirror-like surfaces. Interestingly, the San Francisco Mint also produced circulation strikes in 1980, unlike later years, where it focused mostly on proofs. These 1980 S circulation strikes, however, were made in much smaller quantities compared to Philadelphia and Denver issues. The key difference between the 3 mints lies in their mint marks: no mark for Philadelphia, D for Denver, and S for San Francisco. Collectors often seek to complete mint sets by obtaining all 3 versions from the same year. Public resistance to the Susan B. Anthony dollar continued through 1980. Most Americans mistook the coin for a quarter because of its similar size, color, and reeded edge. This confusion discouraged businesses and individuals from adopting it. Although unpopular in everyday transactions, the 1980 Susan B. Anthony dollar found a niche use in vending machines, transit systems, and postal services. Its size fit easily into existing machinery, designed for quarters and Eisenhower dollars. One of the criticisms of the $1,980 was its small diameter of 26.5 millimeters. The Eisenhower dollar had been larger, but the Mint wanted a coin closer in size to a quarter, thinking it would be more convenient. This decision backfired, creating widespread confusion. The coin was composed of copper-nickel clad, the same metal combination used for dimes, quarters, and half dollars. While durable and practical, it lacked the aesthetic appeal of older silver coins, further dampening enthusiasm among collectors and the public. In terms of numismatic value, most 1980 Susan B. Anthony dollars remain common in circulated condition. However, uncirculated and proof versions, especially in high grades certified by grading companies, can bring higher values among collectors. Some 1980 coins are particularly sought after due to strong strikes or exceptional luster. Mint State 67 or higher examples, especially from the Philadelphia Mint, can command strong premiums because they are harder to find in pristine condition. Proof coins from San Francisco are especially collectible. The 1980 S-Proof dollar comes in both standard proof and deep cameo proof varieties. Deep cameo coins, with frosty designs and mirrored fields, are prized in the numismatic market. Although millions were produced in 1980, most coins saw limited circulation. Large stockpiles remained in treasury vaults for years. Many were eventually melted down or reissued in later years when small dollar coin demand resurfaced. The Susan B. Anthony series as a whole ran only from 1979 to 1981, with a brief reissue in 1999. This short production span makes the 1980 issue historically significant, as it represents one of the few dates in the entire series. The failure of the 1980 Susan B. Anthony dollar influenced future U.S. coin design. It showed the mint that size and appearance mattered greatly for public acceptance. This lesson shaped later coins like the golden Sacagawea dollar introduced in 2000. Today, the 1980 Susan B. Anthony dollar serves as both a collector's item and a reminder of a failed experiment in American currency. It remains historically important because it honored a trailblazing woman and highlighted the challenges of introducing new denominations. In conclusion, the 1980 Susan B. Anthony dollar carries a legacy far greater than its face value. Struck at 3 different mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, it remains a symbol of America's efforts to modernize coinage, honor women, and balance practicality with tradition in currency design. Next up, the year 1979 marked a major turning point in United States coinage history with the introduction of the Susan B. Anthony $1 coin. This was the first time a real American woman, other than allegorical figures like Liberty, appeared on circulating U.S. coinage. The new dollar replaced the Eisenhower dollar, which had been minted from 1971 through 1978, but was considered too large and heavy for daily transactions. Congress authorized the creation of the smaller dollar coin in 1978 through Public Law 95 to 447. The law called for a dollar coin of reduced size that would be easier to carry, more convenient for vending machines, and more acceptable to the American public. The coin also served as a tribute to Susan B. Anthony, a pioneering leader in the women's suffrage movement, who dedicated her life to fighting for equal rights. The design of the Susan B. Anthony dollar was created by chief engraver of the United States Mint, Frank Gasparo. The obverse of the coin features a right-facing portrait of Susan B. Anthony, adapted from a photograph, surrounded by 13 stars, the word Liberty, and the motto, "In God We Trust." The date of issue appears beneath the bust. On the reverse, the design was taken from the Eisenhower dollar, an adaptation of the Apollo 11 mission insignia. It features an American eagle landing on the moon, holding an olive branch in its talons, with Earth visible in the background. This symbolic image connected the coin to American achievements in space and peace efforts. The coin had a reeded edge and was struck in copper-nickel-clad composition, similar to quarters and half dollars of the time. It measured 26.5 millimeters in diameter and weighed 8.1 grams, making it much smaller than the Eisenhower dollar, which was 38.1 millimeters in diameter and weighed 22.7 grams. Despite its intended convenience, the Susan B. Anthony dollar was met with public resistance almost immediately after its release on July 2, 1979. One of the biggest complaints was its size and appearance, which made it too easily confused with the quarter dollar. Both coins were of similar color, reeded edges, and close in size, leading to frequent mix-ups in circulation. The U.S. Mint produced a very large number of these coins in 1979, anticipating strong demand. Over 750 million coins were struck across all mints in that year alone. Production took place at 3 facilities: Philadelphia, No Mint Mark; Denver, D Mint Mark; and San Francisco, S Mint Mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced the highest number of coins, with over 360 million struck in 1979, making this one of the most common Susan B. Anthony dollars. Denver followed closely with 288 million coins, while the San Francisco Mint produced both circulation strikes and proof coins. At San Francisco, About 109 million circulation strike coins were minted, along with over 3.6 million proof coins, specially prepared for collectors. The proofs featured sharp detail, mirror-like fields, and frosted devices, making them stand out from normal circulation strikes. Interestingly, the 1979 S-proof coin exists in two distinct varieties, the Type 1 and Type 2 mint marks. The Type 1 mint mark has a blob-like S, while the Type 2 has a clearer, more defined S. The Type 2 is scarcer and therefore more desirable among collectors. Another variety collectors look for is the 1979 P wide rim or near-date dollar. On this variety, the date appears closer to the rim of the coin, creating a bolder look. The wide rim is significantly scarcer than the common narrow rim variety and commands a premium in higher grades. The release of the Susan B. Anthony dollar was accompanied by widespread publicity and promotion. Banks distributed the coins, and vending machine companies updated their machines to accept the new dollar. However, the general public did not embrace the coin, largely due to its resemblance to the quarter and because people were not accustomed to using dollar coins in everyday life. Circulation demand quickly diminished, leaving vast numbers of 1,979 coins stored in Federal Reserve vaults. Many of these remained untouched for decades, leading to the unusual situation where uncirculated Susan B. Anthony dollars from 1979 are still readily available in the collector market today. The coin also faced cultural resistance. Unlike paper dollar bills, which were lightweight and folded easily into wallets, the heavier coin was seen as inconvenient to carry. This hindered its acceptance, despite efforts to promote the benefits of a durable coin compared to paper currency. From a historical perspective, the Susan B. Anthony dollar remains highly significant. It was the first circulating coin to honor a woman who played a vital role in U.S. history. Anthony's fight for women's rights, particularly her leadership in the suffrage movement, was immortalized in a way that ensured her legacy reached millions of Americans. Although 1979 saw the largest production of Susan B. Anthony dollars, the coin continued to be minted in 1980 and 1981, albeit in smaller quantities. After that, production was suspended due to poor public demand. The coin would only reappear briefly in 1999 before the introduction of the Sacagawea dollar in 2000. In numismatic terms, most 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollars are still relatively inexpensive, given their high mintage. However, varieties such as the wide rim, near-date, Philadelphia coin, and the Type 2 San Francisco proof can bring strong premiums, especially in gem uncirculated or proof condition. Collectors often seek complete sets of Susan B. Anthony dollars, which include the three mints from 1979 and the important varieties. High-grade examples certified by grading services, such as PGS and NGC, are particularly desirable, with MS67 or PR70 coins commanding the highest values. While the Susan B. Anthony dollar was considered a failure in terms of circulation, it holds a unique place in American coinage. It demonstrated the challenges of introducing a new denomination to the public and highlighted the importance of coin design in everyday usability. Today, the 1979 Susan B. Anthony dollar is widely collected as a historical and cultural artifact. It symbolizes not only a numismatic experiment, but also a broader social milestone, the recognition of women's contributions to American society on a national currency. For both history enthusiasts and coin collectors, this coin remains a fascinating and affordable piece of U.S. history. Next up, the United States quarter dollar of 1981. P is part of a long-running Washington quarter series, which began in 1932. This series was first issued to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, replacing the standing Liberty quarter. By 1981, the design was already nearly 5 decades old, but had become one of the most familiar coins in American circulation. The obverse featured the bust of George Washington, modeled after Jean-Antoine Houdon's famous sculpture. The obverse of the 1981 P quarter carries the portrait of George Washington facing left. The word liberty is inscribed above his head. The national motto "In God We Trust" is to the left, and the year 1981 is positioned below. The small P mint mark for the Philadelphia Mint appears to the right of Washington's hair ribbon, just above the date. On the reverse, the design by John Flanagan displays a heraldic eagle with outstretched wings perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing defense and strength. Olive branches beneath the arrows represent America's desire for peace. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum are engraved above, while the denomination quarter dollar is at the bottom. The Philadelphia Mint produced the 1981 P quarter, and unlike earlier decades, by 1981 the Mint had already adopted the practice of including the P mint mark on all circulating quarters. Before 1980, quarters from Philadelphia carried no mint mark, making 1981 P part of the newer era, where collectors could clearly identify its origin. The 1981 P quarter was struck from the modern clad composition introduced in 1965. This alloy consists of an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to a pure copper core. The composition was adopted after rising silver prices forced the U.S. Mint to abandon the 90% silver quarters previously used. The clad quarter weighs 5.67 grams, measures 24.3 millimeters in diameter, and has a reeded edge. The Philadelphia Mint struck a very large number of 1981 P quarters for circulation. With a mintage exceeding 601 million coins, this issue was one of the most common quarters of its era. Such high mintages ensured that the coin would circulate widely across the United States for decades. Despite its high mintage, the 1981 P quarter is historically significant because it belongs to the later years of the original Washington quarter design, before the U.S. Mint began experimenting with new designs in the 1990s and early 2000s. For many Americans, the Washington quarter remained a symbol of stability in pocket change. Collectors often note that coins from the Philadelphia Mint in the early 1980s can suffer from weak strikes and poor details. The 1981 P quarter is no exception, and many examples show less definition in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Finding sharply struck examples can be challenging, especially in higher uncirculated grades. In circulation, most 1981 P quarters experienced heavy wear. By the late 1990s, it was already becoming harder to find well-preserved examples in everyday change. This makes Mint State survivors, especially those graded MS 65 or higher, much more desirable to collectors. While the typical 1981 P quarter holds only face value in circulated condition, high-grade examples certified by professional grading services can command significant premiums. This is because gem-quality clad quarters from the early 1980s are scarcer than their large mintages suggest. One area of special interest for collectors of the 1981 P quarter is era coins. Because of the immense number of coins struck, mistakes occasionally occurred during production. Some examples feature off-center strikes, double strikes, or even planchet errors. Such pieces are rare and can be worth much more than standard coins. The quarter's role in everyday American life in 1981 was also important. At that time, 25 cents had more purchasing power than it does today, enough for a phone call, a candy bar, or even a bus ride in many cities. Quarters were the most widely used denomination for vending machines, arcade games, and parking meters. The 1981 P quarter was also struck during the presidency of Ronald Reagan, a period of major economic and cultural change in the United States. While the coin itself did not directly reflect politics, it circulated during a time of inflation, technological growth, and shifts in American society. In terms of design history, the Washington quarter was originally meant to be a one-year commemorative in 1932, but was so well received that it became a permanent series. By 1981, the coin had already been in production for nearly half a century, with only minor modifications. Numismatists consider the 1981 P quarter part of the modern clad era, which started in 1965 and continued until the launch of the 50-state quarters program in 1999. This long period is often overlooked by casual collectors, making high-quality pieces from the early 1980s underappreciated in the hobby. Because of the large mintages, the 1981 P quarter is not rare in general terms. However, When preserved in pristine condition with strong luster and minimal contact marks, it becomes much scarcer. Collectors pursuing registry sets of Washington quarters especially prize such examples. Another fascinating aspect is the coin's absence in official U.S. mint proof sets for circulation quality. Proof versions of the 1981 quarter were struck at the San Francisco Mint with an S mint mark, but the Philadelphia Mint circulation strikes remained the most widely used in commerce. The long-lasting durability of clad coinage means that 1981 P quarters can still be found in circulation today, though usually worn. Their presence in modern change connects today's Americans with the economic life of the early 1980s. From an investment perspective, circulated 1981 P quarters are worth only 25 cents, but uncirculated high-grade examples can be valued between a few dollars and, in exceptional gem conditions, even higher. Certain errors and varieties may bring hundreds of dollars, depending on rarity and demand. In conclusion, the 1981 P. Washington quarter is a coin that embodies both history and everyday American life. Struck in the hundreds of millions, it served as a workhorse of commerce, carrying the image of the nation's first president through a changing economy. While common in circulation, its beauty, errors, and high-grade examples continue to interest coin collectors, making it a meaningful piece of numismatic history. Thank you for watching and learning with us about the United States American quarter dollar from 1981 P. This coin may look like just an ordinary piece of change, but behind it lies a deep history, powerful symbolism, and hidden collector value. Whether you're a beginner or an expert in coin collecting, every coin tells a story of America's past and connects us to the people and times it passed through. Keep exploring, keep collecting, and who knows, you might just find a valuable treasure in your pocket change. Thanks for being with us, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more rare coin histories.